please welcome Serenna.
This is 5 seconds of F1. A little context, I named it 5 seconds of F1 because when I imported all my animation, it was literally only 5 seconds. So I have 5 seconds of content to work with I worked on this for 5 weeks, so yeah, this is how I felt at the beginning. It's my grandma's dog, love her, she's a bit of a turd. But, this is kind of how I felt. I was like really ready to get into it, ready to showcase how I see F1 and show my love of F1 to everybody. This is how it ended. Not well. So this is my storyboard, my process. As you can tell, there's a lot of writing. I don't know what half of this says, so yeah, we love that. I basically wanted to start off with, I had a lot of ideas that I wanted to use. I had a bunch of tracks and different racing teams that I wanted to focus on, but knowing the timeline that I had, I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do, and I was using 2D, not 3D. But the part that I wanted to really incorporate was stop motion animation, which is you have a physical model and you take pictures of it simultaneously moving. So I wanted to use that, and I also wanted to try and put 3D into it, but that did not work. Did not have time for that. I was kind of over 3D, and I wanted to revisit 2D again from my junior year. I felt like I could do a lot better. My storyboard is kind of crazy. It's all these frames at the bottom. I wanted to incorporate cats because in one of the tracks in Abu Dhabi, they have a cat infestation, so I wanted to kind of highlight like little aspects of F1 that I love. Half of this was never used, so we love that. This is the process. I had a few things going on. I had a layer of the actual frame that I wanted to draw. This is what I drew of the actual car, which is currently being drawn over. And then this layer is the background layer. So I had to go to every individual frame, draw the background first, and then trace over the car. And in the other side of my monitor, I had another screenshot of the frame that I wanted, so I could get the colors right. So I was using that dropper tool, I don't know where it is honestly, and I was going back to the brush simultaneously every single time I saw a new color and a different sound that I wanted to use. Because in the Wacom, the tablet is darker than the actual monitor, but I like the monitor colors compared to the Wacom. So, just a little bit more tedious of a process. I also wanted to animate with a different brush than just a normal round solid brush because I liked having that texture look, even though, with F1 being so quick, you don't really see a lot of that throughout the animation, so I feel like my work wasn't as appreciated as I want it to be, or as seen, because all these frames were like less than 2 seconds. It was so depressing. So yeah, this is me afterwards, kind of, I'm ready to go home at this point and never look at this project ever again. So that's how I felt. But this was this weekend. I was trying to finish up the rest of the animation because there was one scene that I really wanted to focus on. And it was just a lot, and it was nowhere close to done, but it was very beautiful, but kind of a pain to physically animate because in the timeline below, the timing can be different because you can change the frame, every single frame, to a different second, meaning it'll either spend longer on that frame or less. And to have a little section in between each panel I made, it was either too far apart, so it didn't look as smooth, or too close together, so it was really quick, really slow, really quick. So I was like, okay, this isn't working, so I had to spend more time editing this specific scene, trying to either fill in places that just wasn't looking the best, or just completely scrap it. I had to scrap at least 2 different scenes because I was like, they just don't work. I ended up using them in the end though because I was like, I need film, I don't have enough. Once again, it was only 5 seconds, so I had to fill in the blanks. So this was me afterwards. I was just done. I was almost pulling an all-nighter, so I was tired. This is my amazing dad for helping me last second get the stop motion ready. We were up at Tahoe and I was not prepared. I didn't bring any materials other than this car that I have, so very underprepared, but somehow we found like this board that my mom usually does puzzles on as a base, and then I found this curtain that goes like over your bed or something, but it was really wrinkled, so we found a ironer. I don't know where we found this, but we found it and we ironed it really quick before we went outside. And I made this really quick. That is a tissue box. It's not meant to be perfect because it's in the background and I want it to be blurry, but I needed something in the background to show, oh yeah, this is like a stand or there's something. And this is like a wall and part of the track that I kind of noticed as I was animating. Didn't go very well. Once again, I didn't have much materials. I had newspaper, tissue boxes, and glue, so not much. And this is where we filmed it. It's on the side of the railing, and I just wanted it to be. I wanted it to be dark. I had a really specific vision, but it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to in the end. But I worked with what I had. We put this giant board on the side of the railing, and I had the camera a little further away on the tripod, simultaneously taking a picture. Didn't work out that great, so I cut half of that footage because it kind of just sucked, but oh well. This is an After Effects editing. This was trying to make it look good with the time I had, and I had a whole bunch of editing I needed to do. I had my friend on call trying to guide me through what I should put where with what music, because the music was going to be one of the main factors with the animation, because I had to hit certain points and I had a lot of different other film that I wanted to cut and I didn't know where to put it because it was, once again, just filler for whatever I had. Yeah, this is what I wanted to do my project. I hated it. He's okay, the dog is fine. But yeah, I was stressed. Once again, I pulled an all-nighter. This is what I woke up to. I didn't know it was that late. This was in the morning. This is how I felt afterwards. Appreciate, she's scary. I love my dog. I had a lot of inspiration, and once again, going back to the beginning of what I wanted to incorporate, I wanted to put rally racing. This is one of the greatest women drivers ever. I wanted to kind of highlight that part of it. Once again, didn't have time. I wanted to do sand dune driving because a former F1 driver retired and he went into Ford, which kind of followed this path into dune driving, which I thought was really cool, and I had a planter garden that I could use to do a stop motion with. Just didn't work. Oh well. And I wanted to incorporate a lot of amazing moments that have happened in F1. Once again, just didn't have time to do it. And I wanted to also do a bunch of great tracks I really loved and incorporate a lot of amazing people who have dominated the sport. The biggest challenge was time. It was hard for me to manage the time with what I was doing. Since I wanted to do a specific brush and texture way of animating, it took a lot longer than just copying and pasting at each frame and then moving it a little bit. So that kind of screwed me over in the end. Editing, I really needed the editing to pull the entire project together for what I had. So it was super rushed though, because I was doing it for one night and I was sitting in my car the other day just trying to finish it. So a lot of little things I had to get done. And finding an idea at the very beginning took so long, because I was juniors, I was in your spot, and I saw so many amazing Zeniths from last year. I was like, I want to do something as cool, as creative as that, but I think I got a little too ahead of myself, and I couldn't really think of a good idea that I thought was okay, this is such a good idea, I want to do this. So I just kind of landed on whatever I thought was okay, and I was like, I could have done something a lot more great than I appreciated more than I do this one. Here's the final project. Enjoy. 5 seconds.
Yeah. Miami. South Beach. Bring the heat. Y'all feel that?
You may have my number.
different elements and shapes instead of just a textured brush. And structure, I wish I had restrictions on what I was allowed to do for this project. I would have done something a lot different that would fit in the time frame that I had. And once again, creativity, I could have made something so much more original. I wanted to do something more original because it was just like a copy and paste from a video that I really liked out of F1. I could have done something just that I liked personally, that I thought envisioned F1 than just a video. So yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, thank you to my mom, thank you to my friend Sydney for helping me edit. And yeah, any questions? Yes?
What brush did you use? If you used one that was piece-out, did you make one?
I did not make one. I found one in the brush tool, probably like dry brushes. I ended up switching to one of the other computers, digital media, and I lost the brush, so I don't remember. Yes.
You have so much respect for me for all of this, but also like all of the iconic moments that you chose. I think truly embody the sport, and your animation of LeClaire Sunset Lap, just that little clip was really great.
Thank you. I wanted to add in the distracted one, but I just.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Bravo, Serena. Thank you very much.